think Santa is?
Santa's always watching. Hello out there, and we're on the air. Welcome back to a special Monday edition of the KNGDOM Golf Show. Boys are a little bit hungover. We had our Glow Golf on the weekend, but bear with us. I got a Caesar here to help me through this. So we're glad to have you tonight. We would like to welcome everybody across this beautiful country of ours, West Coast to the East Coast, everybody in between, and anybody out there who might be watching from outside of Canada. We're glad to have you tonight. It's the biggest week in golf, and we'll see you in exactly 30 seconds.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the kingdom. As always, my name is Drums, and I'm joined by the brothers behind King Golf, Regan and Jordan Headley. As we always do, we send it right up north, see what's going on with our boy Reg. Reggie, how you doing, buddy?
Hello.
Good day.
I'm doing good. Went to Rossman for the second time this summer on the weekend. We had the Glow Golf tourney on Friday. It was,
nice.
As always, absolutely phenomenal. We didn't really get to play a whole lot of golf on Saturday. There was a tournament on there. We couldn't get on the course till 6. We could have went before 10, but as it always does, the Glow Golf carried on to the wee hours of the morning, so we couldn't get up for that tee time. Other than that, not a whole lot. Not much going on. Playoffs, we're supposed to, I'm missing Tuesday golf tomorrow because I don't know if we lost out of playoffs. We're down 2 or 3 to go. I think we're just going to forfeit because it's tough to, we can't really find a time to get out there. So we're not going to go out there just to play 3 holes. So I think we're just going to throw the match, and that'll be the end of our year, unfortunately. But
what? Oh, you got rained out or something, didn't it?
We got rained out, and then so we finished our match. We started on 12, and we won. Actually, Dad birdied 18 at Gilbert, which is a crazy birdie. So it was for a net eagle. So we won our match on 18. He struck the dart from 150 to like 6 feet, rolled it in, moved on to the next match, and neither of us could really get our games going. And Scotty, we played Scotty and Lance, his brother-in-law, and they hadn't lost a game yet this year. They were 9-0-1 going into our. No, I guess it would have been 10-0-1 going into our match, and yeah, they're too much for us to handle. So that's the way it goes. Our men's night year is officially over.
It's the way she goes.
What's their secret?
I don't know. They both have probably higher handicaps than they should, but only by a couple, and they just ham and egg very well. And they're both capable of making birdies and doubles. So
ham and egg's way more key than somebody sandbagging, actually.
Yeah, it really is. It's frustrating as hell too.
Yeah.
And they also just don't care, which is a huge thing in golf. Like they care, but they don't care, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Which is key, I found.
Jor, what's happening out in Rossman?
Top of the evening to you, ladies and gents. Drummy Reggie. It is a very fine line balance between caring too much and not caring at all. You got to be somewhere in between there. I find that me and Moose play best when we're whenever you say words like "we need to win this hole" or "we need this," never good. It's like Michael Scott when he is Santa Claus and telling Jim that he needs this. Same kind of thing. Too desperate. You start playing out of character. You start hitting dumb shots. You just gotta play one shot at a time. That's golf. But speaking of that, there's lots of golfers who are in the match play mode this week. It is the Tamarack. It's the biggest week in golf here in Manitoba. Lots of big tournaments. Well, I'll probably touch on it later. We got some stuff to talk about. But no, it was good. It was a really fun weekend. It was way too late for me. I'm still paying the price here myself for. That was Friday night too. That was like it feels like 2 weeks ago now. But we were up till we didn't leave the cabin till after 4 a.m. So got home. Arnie was still a little bit wound up. We probably didn't get to bed till close to 5. And then I texted Reggie. We were supposed to golf. Classic. Supposed to golf early Saturday morning. I texted Reggie at 7:40. Didn't hear anything. So I got about 2 to 3 hours of sleep. Thankfully, Dad was out on the course fixing some divots, and but mostly Dwayne. I think it was mostly Dwayne and Timmy who were the cleanup crew after that one. So big shout out to them, because it is it's tough. The Glow Golf, it's pitch dark, and you're trying to hit your ball. That's the main task, but you don't really think to repair your ball marks, fix your divots. So we tried this year to keep it mostly in the rough as per Dwayne's request, but there's a couple holes at Rossman. It's a very hilly, very slopey course, so Reggie could only find it, I think, on 6 out of 9 holes. So the other fairways were a little bit beat up. And the toughest thing, as Reggie mentioned, was that they had a tournament the next morning. So there was a couple guys who were out pretty late for the Glow Golf, and then I saw them pulling up to the course at 9:30 the next morning. So I'm sure they didn't have the best Saturday morning themselves, but I mean, it's pretty easy to get up for golf for the most part. So no, it was a lot of fun. We had a record score again this year. -5 was the winners, which was you guys have both played Glow Golf before. Crazy. Pretty good score.
Chucking darts all day.
Chucking darts, and the hardest thing I find about the Glow Golf is not only like deciding which clubs to hit, because the balls they don't travel as far. It's at night, so it's colder, so they travel even less. But just gauging where the pins are on the green, because all you can really see is the pin.
Right.
And if it's a left side, even if you look like you're kind of going towards it, the greens here at Rossman can easily shoot you off the green. So very impressive score. -5 to it was Braden Gillies. What was the other guy's name, Reggie? Mac
Miller?
Oh, you're on mute, Reggie.
Sorry, I think Mac Blinsky.
Mac Blinsky. Michaela was in there, and I don't know who the other ones were, but impressive nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them for that. But other than that, no, it was good. We had actually all the boys out here. We were going to the cabin last night, and I was like, isn't it weird that me, Drums, and Reggie are all in the same location right now on a Sunday night?
Super weird.
And as Drums will talk about, we had a nice little catch up yesterday. Drums is out at Rossman for the day with his family, and actually didn't even cross path with Reggie somehow. So anyways, great weekend. Still feeling it, but that's just life. We'll get over it pretty fast here. So anyways, Drummy, what's up in Brandon?
How's boys? Yesterday was perfect, actually. Yeah, like George said, my aunt and uncle have a cabin out there, and so we were celebrating Grandma's birthday out there. So the fam made their way up there. We stopped at George's and cleaned them out of some peas and carrots in the garden. And Arnie got to chase Luca around for a while and catch up. It was good. And then had a nice barbecue with the fam. So it was perfect. And Reggie, we're in the same spot as you. We're out of men's night already as well. We got our asses handed to us on Thursday.
By who?
Jew and Kloss. Actually, Justin Jew, he just played lights out. Of course, every time you lose, everybody says the guy had the round of his life, right?
Yeah.
I think Jew probably would have been around 82, and he's a 21 handicap. So he played just unbelievable. He was draining like 40-foot putts. It was just unbelievable. He went birdie, lipped out for birdie to finish off the front 9. So it was tough. It was tough sledding there. And me and Farns didn't play. We played okay, actually, but we just couldn't catch up to him. So we got smoked. And yeah, we're done too. So it's a wrap on the men's night here.
Crazy.
Other than that, we'll just get out when we can.
Got the blue chair still, which is, I think, the reason most guys play in the league.
Very true.
Blue chair is the biggest event of the summer for us.
Yeah, the boys must have been into it a bit at OJ's on last Thursday. I got a few texts asking if I wanted to play in the blue chair, but
can't do her.
I'm officially maxed out.
You've had yourself a summer.
Yeah, it's been good. Very good.
Mosquito bite that is on fire right now.
It is it has been quite the summer, especially for Reggie. And that's we're talking about the Tamarack tonight. I'm not gonna lie. Over the weekend, I had lots of regrets of not playing the Tamarack this summer. We missed it last year because we were in PEI, but this year being here and being so close to it all, and I wish that I was there. So we'll be back next year, as we've talked about on the show. It was just too much. It was I went to Europe. That was a pretty big week and a half, financially and just time off wise. So it's hard to. The Tamarack's a pretty big week too. Pretty costly, especially if you're not staying in Clear Lake, don't have a cabin there. It's a pretty expensive week. So we're gonna be back next year. That is a guarantee for the Kingdom. But I wish I was there this week. It's unfortunate.
Are you guys going to do the scramble next year?
Yeah, that's the plan right now. It actually, me and Reggie were kind of following the scramble results there, and everything's been going on. But there's some pretty good scores and lots of familiar faces. Yeah. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to get into that. The tough thing for me is I really want to do that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But the Tamarack is like the only time that you actually get to play your own ball and keep score and have those competitive juices flowing. But I really think that it would be similar in the scramble. I think that if you're playing a match play event with a scramble, I think that'd be pretty fun. That's what it is, right, Reggie? You get flighted in matches?
I've never really played a match play scramble.
I'd never actually thought about
extra holes.
Like, I guess we have like dicking around, like, yeah. But like, it'd be pretty nuts.
I like that they're trying something new too, though.
Agreed.
I think this is going to be a big hit, no matter what. But like, they had 36 teams, I think, or 32.
32, like that. I think they got 2 full flights. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and they had 8 on the waiting list, I think.
Almost better turnout than kind of what the men's is right now. So they had to figure something out to get everybody back in there, right? So. Or keeping them. So
smart move.
Try it. Smart move.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that next year. Me and Reggie got to start our training regimen as soon as the Tamarack ends. We'll find a batting cage and we'll put Reggie in there and get a helmet on him.
Why am I going in?
Because you're the little brother.
Yeah, you're pulling the cart.
Good point.
You're the horse pulling the cart, so we need to get you in tip top. All right. Well, let's get right to her, boys. We got some cheers for tonight. We got an abundance of cheers. Reggie, you want to kick her off with our guy Hideki? You were following it a little closer to me this weekend.
Yeah, I was following it. I mean, I tracked it all weekend, and we're actually watching it on Sunday, but we had to go for a round of golf at Rossman before we left. So I asked Dad to PVR it to watch the last 6 holes, and he did. Tried to watch it, and it froze probably like 16 times. And then it had a thing basically just completely froze. The Bomber game was on, so Dad wanted to watch that, so I gave up on it. So I basically I looked on the PGA app and tried to track what happened on my phone. Looked like it was a crazy one to miss because Hideki had a 5-stroke lead when I stopped watching. And when he stood on hole 16, Hovland was leading. So that was like in a 4-hole swing. He lost a 4-stroke lead to a guy that wasn't even one of the ones that was 4 down. I think Hovland was 5 down. I think Hovland went birdie, so that would put him 3 back. And then Hideki went. No, Hovland must have been 4 back because he went birdie, and Hideki went bogey double. So then Hovland was 1 up, and then Hovland bogeyed 17, and Hideki birdied 17 and 18 to win.
But the cheers was from his mishap that happened.
Yeah, so he actually got robbed when he was at the Olympics.
Oh yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah.
So his coach and caddy they stole their passports, so they got deported back to Japan because they didn't have any passports. So he didn't have his caddy or a coach on the weekend, and then he ends up winning.
Wow.
Pretty wild.
Which is pretty impressive because if people aren't overly familiar with Hideki, he doesn't speak English.
No.
Well, he doesn't speak English in quotation marks.
Says
Me
he
and
does.
Reggie
Yeah.
kind of came up with a theory on that that's his way to not talk to the American media, which is a pretty smart play. Reggie said that straight out of
Vladdy's playbook.
Vladdy's playbook. Same idea.
Yeah, Vladdy still can't talk English. He lives in Toronto for 4 years and was born in Canada. But yeah, he doesn't quite know how to talk English yet. It's pretty smart. Pretty smart.
It's a good buffer, as Reggie called it. But anyways, very impressive. I would imagine that they probably flew somebody else down from Japan, or he had somebody else on staff that could like communicate with him if he actually can't speak English. Because I feel like that'd be pretty tough to go a weekend, especially in the playoffs like that, without anybody.
Picking up somebody, yeah.
Yeah. But nonetheless, very impressive under the circumstances. So we want to give a shout out to Hideki there. He's been
The
kind
Sunday
of
banana. I'm not a big fan of though.
He's got to get a new shirt guy.
He's probably got the worst style in golf.
Yeah, for sure. Does.
Him or J Day. J Day's in some baggy ass pants on Sunday.
J Day's at least like trying something out there a little bit. I feel like Hideki's just out to lunch.
Yeah.
Strixon, isn't that his brand?
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, his shirts look like he just got them off. He was the last prize on the prize table.
Clearance rack.
Sale rack. Yeah, sale rack. It's pretty tough.
Reggie, do you want to give us a quick update? Another cheers for the Dauphin and Brandon boys. It seemed like they had a pretty good showing in the Tamarack. I mean, that's a pretty large swath, but some close friends of yours were nipping at it.
Yeah, so I could give a few shout outs. I don't really know. I could tell you the Dauphin guys that are in the championship flight. I'll probably miss somebody for the scramble anyways. Odie and Lance are playing together. Lance Delamer. I think they qualified actually quite high, like 4th or 5th. Foxy and Laser, obviously, they qualified together. They're in the championship. Geese and Scotty are in the championship. Sparrow and Jaron are in the championship. And then can you hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Well, kind of. Couldn't make anything.
It's too much. I'm gonna turn red, but no, Easton. We got a auto feeder and Easton recorded her voice on there, and that's what that is. I tried to save her face. Somebody might go back and listen to this and listen to it, but it's all good.
You couldn't hear anything.
John Tomlinson's John Tomlinson's in the first flight. Christian Laughlin's in the second flight, and I didn't see a whole lot past there. Boston Carlson actually shot 1 over today, so he qualified for the championship as well. BK. So shout out to him. Shout out to those guys.
A couple watchers of the show too, for sure. We're in the champ flight. Roscoe was in there. I think he was 3rd or 4th finish.
Pretty impressive. I think he shot 2 under yesterday. Sorry, he's 1 over the first day and 2 under yesterday.
Pretty good golf.
Very good golf.
Who else was in there? Boomer snuck into the champ flight.
Yep.
Evan Nautigal had a pretty good showing. I think he was the medalist, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he shot 7 under and then even.
Not a bad first round.
Grady Chubak, I saw today. I Googled him after because I wanted to know where he's from. Plays UBC Thunderbirds, like CIS, like Canadian CIS golf. He was 7 under in the junior qualifiers today.
What?
Which is wild.
So pretty good golf. It's cool. I like it. I like the format. I like that there's some pretty good talent in the scramble side, and there's some pretty good talent in the individual side. It's a good mixture. I kind of want to get up there this week to see what's going on. There's
I wish I could. Foxy was actually over tonight. We'll do the cheers though first. Cheers to all those guys. Good luck the rest of the way. Match play fires up tomorrow for the most part, and apparently the first few flights go off very early tomorrow, which is going to be beneficial because I think it's supposed to get crazy windy tomorrow afternoon. So,
not as relevant though in match play because they're just playing against each other anyways.
Still though,
just for enjoyment purposes.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to the boys good luck. We'll catch up with some Tamarack action a little bit later on too, but some pretty good golf from.
Actually, Odie and Lance play Drew, Will, and Klaus tomorrow.
Do they?
Oh, do they?
Yeah. And the winner of that plays the winner of Fox and Lance and remember that Lau Meek that I played and he had that thing on the end of his putter?
I wonder if they'll be expanding the scramble next year.
I'm guessing they have to, right?
By popular demand.
Yeah, I heard actually. Well, we'll get into the Tamarack talk in a little bit.
Okay, well, a couple more cheers here. We won't take as long on these ones. Big shout out to JP who aced in our league night on Thursday night. He aced hole 14, which is a doozy of a hole. Hard to hit the green, never mind hit the hole.
Is that the one that slopes left, right?
The second one right after the really tough par 3.
Oh, the one right up the hill.
No, that's 13.
No.
So there's the one that slopes like crazy left.
Yeah. The green does. Yeah. So he got an ace there. He's actually the second guy to get an ace in our league history. Both him.
Come on.
So his second ace, both were on league nights. We were talking about the other day. His other one was in Shiloh about 7 or 8 years ago. I was in his group when he got it. But I don't think we were actually playing a match. I think we went out there for matches, but some guys went home because it was storming. Some of us stayed because we just wanted to play golf. And I think he got an ace on that night. So we've only had 2 in the league, and both of them have been JP. So pretty impressive. We had a bit of a chat afterwards. Maybe I'll table that just to help us get through the cheers here. The aces. So that's big shout out to JP. Cheers to him, and also to another good buddy of ours, Harley. Harley took his girlfriend Emily out to Poplar Ridge. I think they were playing today, maybe for her birthday, and popped the question. So, a couple shout outs there. 1 for proposing on the golf course. 2 for wearing a King golf hat. That's Harley's number 1 in his repertoire. There. Dal had a King hat when he proposed. So if you're ever looking to get proposed and you need a guarantee yes, just throw a King golf hat on.
I had one on as well.
Did you? There you go.
Someday best.
We should start a little album for all the boys who proposed in King golf hats. But anyways, big shout out to Harley and Emily. Congrats on the proposal and congrats on the yes. So JP, yes. Harley, cheers, boys.
Salute.
All right, so going back to the ace thing there, we were talking about it at OJ's after the ace. And apparently there was an ace pot. There was a course, I forget where it was. I'm pretty sure it was in Manitoba, but somebody finally hit an ace. They've been doing an ace pot forever. And somebody finally hit an ace, and I think they got $60K.
Ooh.
So
$60,000?
Yeah, like that's how long it took for somebody to get an ace. I think it was open too. Like if you just went to the course for a round and you wanted to be part of the ace pot, I think you could just pay $5 or $10 and get in on it. So it wasn't like a men's league or anything. It was just like an open invitation to people. But yeah, somebody walked in with 60K. But you guys have anything like that for your men's night, Reggie? I think we should maybe start something like that next year in our league.
Yeah, there's a hole-in-one pot for sure.
Is there?
Yeah, I think you just get $500 to get a hole-in-one. Just basically just pays the beer tab. Yeah.
Pretty smart, honestly.
Yeah,
it is for sure.
We've talked about it before, but it's one of the biggest scams in history is getting a hole-in-one and having to buy everybody a drink.
Well, Mick was talking on the weekend. He said when he got his on 7, somebody just got one the week before on number 3 or something, right? So it was like $2,500 then, and then he got his, and it was like $400, I think, or $500 maybe.
And 7 is 3 times the length of hole 3. Yeah, they should definitely have a separate pot for hole 3.
Is 7 the same difficulty as 6 at Rossman?
What do you mean?
6.
In terms of how hard it is to make a par?
You think 6 is hard to make a par?
I think 6 is an easier par than 7.
Oh, a 3.
Sorry, I would say it's almost equally as hard to make a 3 on 7 as it is on 6.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think
gotcha.
so. Well,
Yeah.
they're pretty much equal if you really look at the map.
Like you got to have pretty close to the same scoring average.
Yeah, like not to par, but numbers.
Numbers.
Yeah, really. I mean, the one thing that 7's missing is a huge bush staring at you on the left side,
Yeah, but
tempting you.
it's a very hard green. Like I know the green's hard on 6, but at least you know what it's doing all the time.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're probably right. So something to implement maybe next year is the ace pot for the league.
Yeah. Should. So he didn't get anything for getting it then in the league? Either time?
Just a congrats.
Tough.
And the boys were just scrounging drinks for free.
Literally, the cart came.
That's why everybody's probably texting me then. Everybody probably got in one after his hole in one.
They were 2 groups in front of us, and the beer cart came up shortly after. Like we were still on, he got on 14, we were on 13, and the beer cart came, and she was just like, "You guys need anything?" And Drew was just like, "Go find JP. Tell him he's buying everybody a drink." So she took off, and then she came back like 10 minutes later, and she's like, and Drew's like, "What did he say?" And she just gave the thumbs up. He's like, "All right, boys, let's go."
That guy's wild.
Yeah, we were playing a match too. We were, I think, 2 groups behind them, and the guys we were playing against weren't really drinking too much, and so he got his hole in one. Me and Moose grabbed a beer, and we're like, "Well, it's on JP." So they're like, "Okay, well, I'll get a couple Gatorades." So I just threw a couple Gatos on his tab just for
Unreal.
make him pay. It is kind of a messed up rule.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So stupid.
But how does that ever change though? That's the thing. That's the question. Like, how do you change
do?
something like that? That's kind of like an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
Like actually, what would be the?
I just think it has to start with one course. It's the same as everything. I think it just has to start with one course, and then it snowballs to somewhere else. And then Neepwa says they're not doing it anymore, and then Minidosa says, "Yeah, us either," because it's the dumbest rule in fucking golf history. Probably.
It's not really the courses though. That's the issue.
But on a men's night, I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a men's night, and I think the pot, the hole-in-one pot takes that away too. At least the booze is covered no matter what. Yeah.
I think you could say that. I think the courses should actually say that if somebody gets a hole in one, they drink for free, but it has to be them drinking.
Only them.
Yeah.
That'd be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough because it's like, well, yeah. I mean, I think that sounds good in theory, but then JP gets one, and we're like, okay, we'll have a beer on JP.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just needs to, I think, change from like that level. I think that's where it would be. Like, no, tell the cart to go back. Here's a couple beers for JP. Let's change this. And then like, I don't know. I feel like that's how it would have to happen at like a really grassroots level almost. But we've just been ingrained in that whole thing happening that everybody's like, yep, give me a beer on JP. He owes us one.
Yeah.
I got saved by Aspen when I got mine at the Agassi Cup. Like if I had to pay that out of my pocket, man, that would have crippled me.
It's actually crazy. His partner has a hole in one this year as well.
Johnny, yeah, that wasn't in league though, eh?
No.
I want another ace bad. Dell almost got one actually too. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, he sent me that picture yesterday.
He was a couple inches. I don't know what side he was on of it, but pretty impressive nonetheless from Dally. Let's do some around the greens, Drummy, and then we'll get to maybe some Tamarack chat, and then we'll do the fix your divots, and then
peace.
I got a stroke saver.
Nice.
Did you guys see this video out of South Africa? Right off of the golf course, right on the patio, people eating their dinner. 2 lions killing, what do they call it? An impala, which I guess is like their deer, essentially over there. Mm-hmm. So these 2 lions take this deer down, and they're munching. And then all of a sudden, a pack of hyenas come, and the lions scatter, and the hyenas start going to town, and then a crocodile comes out of absolutely nowhere and starts chasing the hyenas away. Just complete mayhem, like 20 yards away from people eating their supper. Just
What?
completely different world.
It's nuts.
the golf
That is
course?
a different world. Yeah, on the golf course.
Yeah,
for
right on the
sure.
green. 18th
What was
green.
on the green? Jeez.
Yeah. Nuts. Bit of tea out of the Live Tour. Reports are from a league insider that John Rahm is not very happy with his decision to go to Live. Now, obviously, there's no name with the person that's leaked this information, but it sounds like this person is kind of close to John and saying like 100% if he could just write a check and give the money back, he 100% would. And I don't think that's that shocking, just kind of seeing Rombo season play out, really. Like, went from top of the world. I'm sure in his mind there was something in his mind, obviously, that said, I can make this work and be part of this, growing this. And unfortunately, it hasn't really happened for him. He hasn't had an amazing year play-wise, and his name's out of everybody's mouth, and his stock has severely dropped.
So why do we think that is?
The coverage, like, obviously, there's the coverage, and he was getting pissed off at like the music and the fans and stuff too. So I don't know if he didn't really get a feel for it before making the decision, but
we were talking about this at men's night, and I said, like, okay, he took that, what was it, 150 million?
yeah,
Or like more.
I get that that's a lot of money, and I get that he had to take it, and I get that it's $150 million, and it's almost impossible, and every person in the world is going to say no. But that's us saying that. That's the three of us sitting here going to work every day, making our living that way, trying as hard as we can to fight paycheck to paycheck to buy stuff that we want. John Rahm was not in that situation ever.
Yeah.
He had more money than he would ever know what to do with when he signed for $150 million. He probably could have made that in endorsements, in wins, in that. But signing off to Live, and whatever, I have to eat crow a little bit too, because I said when he went that it's a no-brainer to do it. But that, again, that's in my perspective of $150 million is a lot to me. But then you always hear people say, oh, I retired and then I had no purpose. Like, do you really think he has any purpose now playing on that tour? In the grand scheme of things, do you think he does? Like,
well,
he never have a.
It doesn't. I 100% agree with you, but it doesn't seem exclusive to him. Like, everybody on that tour in the same position.
TJ's not even a human anymore in golf. Like, he's really not. I completely forgot about him.
I wouldn't say that. I really wouldn't. I mean, it's easy to say that after these reports come out. I also think that I mean, we'll just go ahead and assume that they're true. We'll go on the assumption that the report's true. Rahm's not having a good time. I just feel like John Rahm from day one wasn't really built to be a Live player. Like, he was never really a big media guy. He was never really flashy. He doesn't like the bullshit. But to me, it's like, I still think that he has a purpose. Like, those guys, if they weren't able to play in majors, I think that'd be a whole different story. I think they obviously would have got a lot less people going over there as well. But I don't know, Reggie, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, like, $150 million when you're used to that lifestyle, I think every human on earth pretty much spends what they make. So who knows what he was in for debt, and who knows what he owed who, and what kind of lifestyle that he was living. And, like, it's very easy to live within your means when that's all you make. But, when you have that money, you also have a bunch of bills. Like, doctors are a perfect example of that. They make $1 million a year, but they also spend that $1.2 million a year. So it's like, it's a different ball game, but they also live a much different lifestyle than we do.
Yeah, I just mean, like, at what point do you put a price tag on still having a chance to have a legacy in golf? And a lot of the guys that stayed on the PGA chose that version of it, and he didn't, and now he's regretting it because he's one of those guys who I think, like when AC came on here, he said he expects every shot to go in. He wants to be the best.
Yeah.
And he's over there golfing, and nobody personally gives a shit who wins a live tournament on the weekend when there's the playoffs right now on golf. I'm sorry, but it takes precedence way over top of live. It's just, they try to
No,
pump
you're
the
right.
cards.
You're right.
Brooks Koepka won on the weekend. Like, who
Okay.
cares, kind of, right? I don't know. Like, it just feels like they're winning exhibitions. That's what it feels like to me when they win on live.
Yeah, I think that's where the disconnect would come from. Is just like live is it's a different style of league. It's a different vibe out there. And John Rahm is, as you just mentioned, probably one of the most competitive guys, not on tour in golf, but like in sports. So it would be very difficult, I think, from playing every week, like playing competitive golf every week, regardless of what tournament, he's showing up to win it. But it probably doesn't mean as much over there, just because that's where I fail to understand like where this is coming from. Because if a guy's that competitive and he's still competing against, some of the best golfers in the world, I still feel like you should be able to get up for those events, even if you don't love all the shenanigans around it. That's where my disconnect is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just.
And sorry, go ahead, Reg.
Go ahead, John. No, you go ahead.
From the start with him going over there, and he talked about it, but like growing the game globally, not just in the States, was a big reason for him going
that
there.
makes sense.
So I think like that, like once you get in there and you get a peek behind the curtain and you see, oh, it's not really playing out that way. So now I've completely fucked myself. I think there's got to be some of that in there too.
Yeah, like, and then on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and I just touched on DJ. I don't think DJ really gives a shit about anything anymore. He was the number one golfer in the world. He went through all that stuff. He won. He's still continuing to win. He won majors. He's got a great life. His father-in-law is the great one. I think he's just okay with
Smoke show,
taking the bag and going to see all these different spots in the world and playing on this exhibition tour, because he really doesn't care to play all that competitively anymore. And I honestly think that Cam Smith is kind of built the same way.
Yeah.
I think Cam Smith was kind of like a young DJ where he was just there. He was really good at golf and he was there to make money. Not necessarily, and I'm not saying he's not competitive, but he's definitely not on the same scale as John Rahm when it comes to pure competitiveness. And actually, I'm wondering if a guy like Bryson regrets going over there as well.
I would have
what he's doing now, but then I don't think he'd have time to do what he's doing otherwise, and building his own brand that way. So he's kind of benefited from it. Whereas a guy like Rahm really,
that's not his scene.
no.
Yeah.
And him wearing that team colors, like a guy like DJ and a guy like Cam Smith, like I could see a guy like Cam Smith playing on a team and wearing those team colors. But every time I see John Rahm in the team uniform and it just doesn't look right. And he's
I mean, we also have to keep in mind here that we don't know where these comments didn't come from John Rahm. So we're kind of going on the assumption that that's accurate. That's what you have to do, I think, for the most part. But you also have to understand that this could be completely fabricated in the last 10-minute conversation we had is completely irrelevant. So,
but that's our opinions on why it would be like that if it was, and it all kind of adds up why it would be if it is. But
there's still that for me. Like I said, I just don't understand how a guy who's that competitive couldn't find the competitive juices. Even, I honestly thought that even though Rahm didn't really have the personality to fit in with those guys, that he would make the most of it, because as Drummy said, like going over there and growing the game globally, I feel like that would have been a priority for him, just because the PGA is so Americanized. And, you think of guys like DJ, he was at the top of the game for a while and nobody even really cared. The media didn't really do anything to help everybody get to know him anymore. They're just so focused on Tiger and Spieth and JT. And I mean, that would be kind of annoying, I think. And that's why I think a lot of those European guys decided to make the move over there, because Cam Smith's same. I mean, he won one major, but before that, like, he was a real up and comer on the PGA and nobody even knew who he was.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, what else we got tonight, Drummy?
I'm going to keep with Liv. This one actually comes from our buddy Monday Q. And this is a pretty cool one. Life is an alternate on Liv. Alternates replace any player on any team. if a player is forced to withdraw for any reason. Because of the team concept, they can be called into duty in any round. So this week, Ben Campbell, who travels to each live event as an alternate, replaced Sam Horsfield, who was forced to withdraw with an injury. It was the third time this season that Campbell had to step in. In Miami, he replaced Cam Smith for the final 2 rounds. Houston, he replaced John Rahm for the final round. According to According to who the people I spoke with, Campbell gets all expenses paid plus 10 grand per week if he doesn't play. So travels wherever they go, does whatever they do, just doesn't get to play the tournament. He practices all week, plays in the pro-ams. If he plays 1 round, he gets 1/3 of the last place money, or around $17,000. If he plays 2 rounds, he gets 2/3, and then obviously so on. Campbell plays full-time also on the Asian Tour earlier this year, on the road for 11 consecutive weeks, going back and forth from Live to the Asian Tour. So this guy's putting on the miles.
No doubt.
But still, pretty good gig if you take into all the accounted. Absolutely crazy. Could you imagine 11 different stops for tour events, completely different continents of the world? Like, holy smokes, this guy.
Yeah, when do you practice? That'd be the tough thing.
I guess when they're playing the tournament and you're just playing as an alternate, you're not playing, so you can hit the range. True. Yeah.
How long do you think the waiting list is for one of those gigs?
No kidding. Put me in there.
That sounds like a 3rd-string goalie in the NHL.
Right? E-bug.
The e-bug, yeah. I got another one, but I'll save it because it might be a little bit longer, so we can carry on from here.
Okay, well, Drummy, I got the video here from Andrew Rice for the Twitter, the feast.
Oh, yeah, I should have sent that
for the people who watch the show. And if you're listening to this on the audio, I apologize. But
hey, did you guys watch the Bryson video, or Bryson and John Daly?
Daly? I watched. I haven't finished it yet. I watched maybe half so far.
Yeah, I'll watch
it next week.
Should we watch it? Was it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And here comes the crocodile.
Like, are those hyenas really scared of that crocodile?
Yeah.
Like, why though? Like, couldn't they just all attack him?
I don't know if they're. I don't know if a hyena's got like a big enough jaw strength to fuck up a crocodile that much.
Looks like not. That's wild.
That's crazy.
And here comes the crocodile.
Look at that.
The croc just slides in.
Moths it up.
Yeah, I think Drummy's probably right. I don't think the hyenas could, like, where would you even attack the croc there? The neck, I don't think they got a big enough jaw to do that. It's kind of weird.
Like a lion's.
Yeah, lions.
A lion probably could take a stab at it at least.
It looked like the lions cleaned up the majority of the kill though, and then the hyenas came up for the
scraps.
And then the croc came sliding in. What a shit show!
Circle of life, baby.
Oh, the other one I had, Jor, was Patrick Laine to Montreal. You Habs fan now, or what's the deal?
No, never. I didn't see that though. That's kind of exciting for him. It's good to get out of Columbus for a while. What a shit show of a city that is.
Yeah, straight into like the 2nd biggest hockey market in the world to get more scrutinized.
Yeah, good for him though. He was one of my. I had a couple favorite players throughout my hockey life. Kovalchuk being one, Laine being probably 2. Great shots. Kovalchuk was a little bit rougher around the edges than line. He's a bit of a softie, but good to see. He deserves. He's a good shit, I think. But kind of got ripped in Winnipeg. So that's the end. That's the end of the road, Drummy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we're actually 45 minutes into this thing. I thought we were going to get a little bit more Tammy talk into this, but I mean, we actually covered the majority of it at the start. So, is there anything else you guys want to add to the Tamarack, or do we just pick up next week?
I think we just pick up next week. I think you should probably. Do you have one of those tests in true?
Yeah. Do we have? Was there any aces on the qualifying this year?
I didn't see anything,
but I didn't really see. So
I wanted to give a quick reverse shout out to Golf Canada for, or it might have been Sport Canada. Anyways, I saw Thomas Friesen. He was in, where is that? Where is he this week? Did you see his Instagram? I was chatting with him yesterday.
No.
But anyways, he posted a picture from, he's not at the Tamarack this week. He's either covering or playing. I'm pretty sure covering, but he might be playing at a big event that Golf Canada was putting on. And I saw a bunch of flags there that I didn't. It was like Golf Canada flag, and then Pride flag, and then every Child Matters flag. And then the last flag on there, believe this or not, was a Black Lives Matter flag, just randomly thrown into the mixture there. And then finally, after all that, a Canadian flag. So I want to give a reverse shout out to whoever made that decision to include Black Lives Matter. Not that Black Lives don't matter, but the organization itself is probably one of the most corrupt and piece of shit organizations out there. So reverse shout out to them for that. They must have missed the memo on where all those funds were going to from Black Lives Matter. So anyways, I'm sure, I don't know if Thomas will appreciate that or not, but it's just too much. Like, I just don't understand the need for, I get the pride, I get the other stuff kind of, but why? I don't know.
Well, especially when it's been like well documented how corrupt that organization was from the beginning. Yeah,
like the founder of that stole all the money and bought a whole bunch of mansions with the money.
Yeah.
So I guess Sport Canada didn't get the memo on that, but anyways, so the fixture divots, that's my pet peeve for the week. Putting those flags ahead of the Canadian flag at a Canadian golf event. But anyways, so let's do the actual fixture divots for tonight. Let me just bring this up here quickly. This is a pretty good, I thought this was kind of timely for the Tamarack too. This one from Brett Jans, who's a back-to-backer on the fixture divot. So tonight's segment is brought to you by our friends over at the Prairie Scratch Tour. Outside of the Tamarack, I would say definitely the most competitive out. Probably toss up between the two. I know there's a bit of overlap there, but Tamarack's a week long, the biggest event in Manitoba golf. But the Prairie Scratch Tour has been doing some pretty big things themselves here for golf in Manitoba. Prairie Scratch Tour, we've had the Southwood Spring Classic, we've had the Grand Pines Prairie Shootout, the Quarry Oaks Summer Showdown. I believe the next one is next weekend in Falcon Lake, the Bison Championship, and then the 2024 Tour Championship held at Breezy Bend. So every one of these events includes two divisions. If you're not familiar with the Prairie Scratch Tour, they got two divisions, one for the amateurs, like the everyday, every age, and then the Legends, which I'm thinking is over 50 or maybe 60, but they got a bit for everybody there. So if you want more information or to register an event, I'm thinking it's a little bit late now for the Bison Championship, but if you're a competitive golfer or you want to start playing a little bit more competitive golf, definitely check out the Prairie Scratch Tour on Instagram or visit prairiescratchtour.ca. Drummy.
Like George said, this one comes from Brett Jans, and it is guys pouting and being miserable to play with when they're playing bad. I can be kind of guilty of this sometimes too. I get pretty pissed off, and then I'm just a lump on a log as soon as I get too pissed off. So it's just trying to find that good balance of, yeah, whatever, be mad at yourself, but don't let it affect anybody else. Don't let it affect how you're playing as a playing partner. Almost it can be almost as important as how you're playing yourself, as how you're affecting the rest of the group too. So don't be that guy. Tone it down a couple notches on that.
It is tough. It's a tough thing to do. We've all been there where we're having a shitty round, an important round. We're not playing our best. It's very easy to get down in the dumps, but you always have to keep in you have to remember a couple things. Number one, nobody's going to remember what you shot. They're going to remember how it was to golf with you. That's it. And if you're, you could have shot -5, but if you're a piece of shit, they're still not going to ask you back. So shooting low isn't what turns other guys on in terms of finding golfers to play with. But the second part there is like, it's like I said, it's very easy to get into that mindset, but guys gave up. They probably got families. They probably got kids. They took 5 or 6 hours of their day, their time, and they want to enjoy it. They paid $75, $100. They took some time. They don't care what you're shooting. Nobody really cares what you're shooting. So just try your best to, keep in mind how irrelevant it is in the grand scheme of things and focus more on just trying to be a good partner and a good playing companion. And it is tough, but, I'd say just do your best, especially at the Tamarack when you're playing with guys you've never played with before. You don't really know. You never know where some of those relationships and connections are going to lead later in life. So don't worry about the golf. Just worry about having a good time and being a good playing partner.
And then, like you said kind of earlier, sometimes that actually turns you around. If you just end up sitting back, relaxing, shooting the shit with everybody, you might get back into the groove. So you certainly will not get out of the funk if you're just a piece of shit.
Being a grump hurts everything, benefits nothing. Nothing. Benefits absolutely fuck all. It's just like, why? Troy, you said guys take 6 hours out of their day to go out there and play. So are you.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You're sacrificing stuff to be out there, and you're going to get mad because you're golfing bad? Oh, good. Sweet.
Why go
so
then?
Stupid. It's such a foolish thing to do. I feel like a lot of the times when people are like this, it's when they have the luxury of playing all the time. And then when you stop getting to play all the time, and you only get to play that once a week or twice a week, and you realize that, like, when you're playing 4 or 5 times a week and you're playing bad, then it's like, okay, I'm going to get grumpy now because I'm having a bad day. But like when you're playing once or twice a week, like, you can't waste time being mad about your golf game. No. There's just no sense doing it. I mean, why? Why are you mad? You're playing a sport. You don't go to rec hockey on a Thursday night and you miss a couple bad passes and go back to the middle of the bench and hang your head. Like, you don't do that, but it's the exact same thing. I mean, it's like a direct comparable. Maybe you take golf a little more serious than you take hockey, but you're not going to be that guy at hockey. So why are you being that guy on a golf course? There's nothing to be mad about. You're playing for 4 hours on a pristine golf course with people you like.
Hopefully.
Okay. You're bad at the sport tonight. Oh shit. Hang your head, bang your clubs, get mad, ruin everybody else's time because you're having a bad time. No, you can't do that. There's just no sense doing it. And the quicker you realize that, the more people want to play with you and the more you'll enjoy golf.
You play better when you're in a better mood.
Definitely.
And shout out to Steve Valcourt too, because he said on here kind of the same thing. People that are not having fun and killing the vibe, go home.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
A little bit more straightforward than
correct. Yeah, true.
Same idea.
Yep.
Okay, well, I got a quick timeless tested and true here, and then I'll get out of the way and let Reggie give one of his stroke savers because he hasn't for a while, so we'll give more time to that. But this is a big one, and this was kind of timely for the Tamarack. I just wanted to give I don't know how many people who are playing the Tamarack will be watching this at all or in time, but the one thing about golf, especially match play, is nothing. The hole's not over. The match definitely isn't over until the final putt is made. You have no idea, even at the pro level, guys, nerves get in the way, brain farts, anything could happen on the golf course. So never put yourself in a mindset where you're out of it. Until that last putt goes in the hole, the match is not over. I've been there on both sides of it many times in my life. And I've also been somebody who's given up before the match is done. And I think back and think, if I just would have realized that I still have a fight in this, I actually could have, pushed it, or I could have came back and won it, or whatever it is. But when you see whether you're playing bad or the other guy hits a really good shot, you start running through things in your mind and you start playing out a future that you really have no idea what's going to happen. You're just kind of assuming that they're going to hit a good shot. You're assuming they're going to make that 3-footer to win the match. When in reality, nothing is a guarantee until that ball's in the bottom of the cup. So just keep that in mind. I titled this one, Never Say Never. And it's true. Just always remember that until the ball is in the cup, you're still alive.
So true. Like, incredibly true, actually. We, that match on last Tuesday, like, we were down 1 going into 17, and Dad par 17 with a stroke, and birdie's 18 with a stroke, and we win the match. I thought we were toast after 16. And it's just like that. It just happens just so fast in match play. And there's been so many stories. I mean, you could ask anybody who's ever played in the Tamarack how tough it is to close out 15 to 18 at Clear Lake.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, incredibly hard. And you think that you're fighting it, trying to chase. Imagine being the guy with the 2-shot lead with 4 holes to go, and all he thinks all he has to do is tie a hole. So you start playing differently.
Yeah,
it's totally different. Yeah, for sure. That's a good tip.
And I mean, even if I've been in matches before where I was 5 up and the guy came back, I've been in matches where I was 5 down and I've come back. It's until the final putt, the ball's in the hole, it's not over.
No, that's right.
Anything
that's what I was going to say. Sorry. I was watching that golf action on the weekend, and it was actually really interesting, Jory. You said the pressure gets to guys when it comes down the stretch. Like, those guys are the best players in the world. And they got to hole 18, and it was Eric Cole was 8 under for the day. All he really had to do was block one out to the right and maybe scramble for a bogey, and he hits one in the water, like the only place he couldn't go to. And he's one of the best players. Like, I mean, he's top 50 in the world, and he hits it in the water. And then his playing partner, Cam Davis, is also in the same boat. All he has to do is par 18, or bogey 18, sorry. And he's on there. He blocks out to the right, and then he snap hooks one into the water. And then he's got to get up and down for bogey to make that. And he didn't, but it ended up that the double got him in still. But it's like, those guys are the best players in the world, and it comes down to it. And you think that next tournament doesn't matter to those guys? You think it's just playoffs and it's just like another event? Like, those guys are gripping it so tight because that's like their, you know what I mean? And that's how a match could be for someone at the Tamarack. You never know. They might not have won a match before, and they might have collapsed before. You don't know what they did in the past, right? They might have all these bad thoughts going through their head too. And like you said, Jory, you quit and you start trying to force stuff when really maybe you don't have to. You just keep playing your game and ride it out. But yeah.
Well, you just start. I mean, I've been there before. A guy hits a good shot, or you get down a couple holes, and you start playing out scenarios in your head that are only in your head. They're not reality.
And only negative too.
Yeah, usually negative. So just to anybody out there playing the Tamarack, especially at Clear Lake, with those last 3 or 4 holes, as Reggie said there, anything could happen, whether you're 5 down, 7 down even. Like, it's never over until that last putt's in the hole. So anyways, Reggie, what do we got tonight for the main event here? Reggie's Stroke Saver.
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything. And then I was waiting for you before the show to ask me if I have a stroke saver tonight. And you know what? We were golfing actually yesterday with East out at Rossman, and I realized, like, she hit a couple chip shots from like 30 yards, 20 yards, 15 yards, and I noticed it a lot with people who struggle with their inside 70 yards. The biggest thing that I noticed that they make a mistake on is just their tempo is so off. So they think that they could take the same backswing that they do from 30 yards as they do at 70 yards, but then come down slower from 30 yards and top it, or come down quicker from 70 yards and pull hook it. Where is my tip is just anywhere. And that's, as you guys know, that's would be for sure the best part of my game is 110 yards and in, 130 even, just because it's all wedges and control and tempo. But all you really have to do is just, it's like the clock tip that you gave before, Jor. I mean, you just have to take it back with the same tempo at all times. And if you want to hit a little farther, you just have to take it back. But the biggest thing that you have to do is just maintain tempo. And I told Easton that, and she hit some really good wedge shots after that because she's just focused on tempo, not so much how far or hard she had to hit it, because she just knew if she wanted to hit it that far, you just have to take it back that much farther to hit it. And it's crazy. Chipping's the same way for a lot of people. They get so quick taking it back or quick throwing it down that there's just so much. Your body's not in time with your club and your hands, and it's just, that's why people struggle so much with that. But yeah, it's crazy actually how easy it can be, like how easy the motion can be from 70 yards and in, and people make it a lot harder than it should be.
That was actually mine and Farnsy's downfall last week in our men's night match, is we couldn't do anything from like 50 yards in, putting, chipping, anything.
The hardest shots in golf.
But they don't have to be. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, but if you're out of it though, and you don't have that feel or that tempo that day, it's hard to get it back. Because
but if you are doing that, then all you have to just think in the back of your head is tempo, and then it gets so much easier again. Yeah. Yeah. Is that 90% and 95% of the time, that's the only thing that would be going wrong in chipping.
So explain though what you mean by tempo, just in case anybody's listening to this who's not.
Well, a lot of the times when people are quick hooking them, or say popping them up, like the quick hook would come from, and quick hook, obviously everybody knows what that means. Like it just gets absolutely buried, and it's a quick hook to the right, and it's just, all you got to do is just take it back how far you need to hit it that distance, and then come through at the same speed as you're taking it back at. Obviously, you can accelerate a little bit, but it doesn't have to be hard. Like East was taking it back pretty short, and then if she had to hit a little farther, she would just try to really get aggressive on the downswing to hit it harder, and then everything's just off timing. It's just, and it's such an easy thing to do, honestly. And the reason for the scoops and the pop-ups are, if you take it back quick and then try to come through slow, then your body's already through, and then you pop it up, right? It's just, it's all about tempo and just keeping your weight on your front foot, and it should be the easiest part of the game. And so many people make it so hard.
Yeah. I was going to say, instead of using tempo, just like almost straight back, straight through. I feel like people could understand that.
When I was teaching East, I just told her it's the same as a putt, except you're
right
taking the club up and taking it straight through.
Straight back, straight through. Like
the farther you want to hit it,
the
farther you want to hit it, take it back farther, but never change your tempo.
I also think that part of the issue that a lot of guys and girls have with, the 50, 60, 70 yard shots is they feel like they're so close to the green, and they think that they should put it within 2 or 3 feet because they're so close to the green, and they overthink it, and they try to do too much. They might go for a spot on the green that they shouldn't necessarily do, instead of just kind of like putting it on the green. Especially if you're, you hit a drive and you're 50, 60, 70 out, you just get that thing on the green and you got to look at birdie. At worst case, you're making par. But if you start trying to get too cute and firing at pins because you feel like you're so close there, I feel like that's when guys run into a lot of trouble and overthink things.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that Des proved me right with that at Oak Island, because I don't know if I talked about this on the show or not, but when Skylar got a hole-in-one on hole, what was it, 16? Yep. 16, I think. It's like a 200-yard over. No, I don't know if there's water there or not.
Yeah,
I can't think right now on live show. No, there's not. But I was like, that's got to be one of the very rare cases somebody would get an ace on that hole. And he's like, no, actually, that's one of the most popular hole-in-ones, because guys just walk up and hit it. They don't try to do too much. They don't overthink it. They don't start firing at flags from 200 yards out. They just hit it and try to hit the green. And sometimes it goes in, sometimes it misses. But it's usually when guys try to get too cute and they, put too much pressure on themselves, that they should be putting this, their expectations of themselves and based on where they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one, Reggie.
Yep, good to see the stroke saver back in action. We got Marcus Freeze. Boomer is in the house. Hopefully, actually, no, he wouldn't have picked up his hat today because Dad got there pretty late. But it sounded like he had a pretty good start to the week. So hopefully Boomer's playing well. And I want to get out there and watch some golf. There's a lot of familiar faces in both the scramble and the individual. So I'd like to get up there if anybody wants to join me, not in the Tamarack, go cruise around, have some beers. You know how to find me. So with that.
That's it. That's all for this week, I guess. Hey, boys.
Yeah.
We'll play a little recap of the Tammy next week and see how everybody's week was. That's it, boys. We'll catch up next week. Peace out. Love you, boys. Later.
See you, fellas.
Love you, boys.